Hello and welcome to Dungeoneered, a podcast dedicated to discussing Dungeons and Dragons. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Josh. Did you move away from your mic there, or was that just a weird Discord sound?
I don't think so.
Okay. It sounded like you moved away from your mic on my end for a second, and I'm like, during the intro, he moved away from the mic? Weird.
No, I don't think so. I don't remember doing that. I mean, I'm practically kissing my mic, so, you know.
Hey, that's what you're supposed to do.
Taste it. It's like tasting the rainbow, but Mike, I don't know where we're going with this. We need to move on.
Yeah, I don't like where you're going to this.
What's going on?
So, what is your lukewarm open for today?
Well, lukewarm open, I wanted to go a little close to home in terms of our own D&D campaign, and I wanted to talk about how you handle character death or characters leaving. What do you normally like to do? I know for me, my combats can be very, very difficult, and so there can be some pretty awkward, intense situations. And I was just wondering what you normally do as a DM when you handle those things, especially character death and a character who's like, I want to leave or I don't want to, play this character anymore type deal.
Yeah. Well, so I think one of the major things is I don't. I try to avoid. I'll start with that. It's not a thing I enjoy having happen.
You don't ruthlessly murder your players?
No, I tend to try not to do that. That is to say, hold on. That is to say, two of my PCs died in 3 sessions, so
awkward.
One of them is fine now, but the other one is not just killed dead, but also kidnapped afterwards.
Wait, so their dead body was kidnapped?
Yep.
Wow, that's awkward.
Yeah,
Talk
kinda.
about a vendetta.
And it was taken by one of the enemies of one of the PC's backstories. So they have like this real super harsh reason of I hate that dude, and now he just took one of my best friends.
Oh, okay, I see. Do you tend to stick to easier combats or harder combats?
Mine are mostly harder combats. Not like I don't know how strategic I would say my party is.
Yeah,
but I think they've kind of been forced into it to be more strategic because of just how dangerous some of these encounters could be. But I don't think I ever I don't go out of my way to make them challenging. I think about what would realistically be in an encounter. Like, this, it would make sense that there would be 20 hobgoblins in here or whatever. Like, I try to think about it realistically and try to make it that way. But so that means that I start planning ahead on what the encounter will be many sessions before I actually get to the encounter. So it's kind of set up that it makes sense that there's this many of this many of that, or whatever. So I showed the players that there was these 5 big monsters in the area. So they knew there was 5 big monsters in the area. So they knew, one, if they are fighting a combat and they make a lot of noise, that big monster is going to come. So they kind of can make it harder on themselves. They know because there's dangerous things out there. And you can't always be prepared for it.
Got it.
But so
does that usually lead you towards harder combats then?
See, I just make them on an encounter builder, and so I don't. I am more interested in what the stat block does, and that it feels like the right, like that. Oh, that's the right thing that should be here type, rather than okay, I got to make this a hard encounter, and so I focus on making it a hard encounter.
Yeah, I pretty much do exclusively hard encounters, I think, pretty much. I mean, maybe not exclusively. There's some easy encounters that I run, but I like when combat feels like there's stuff at stake.
Yes, I do like when
slaughter everything.
Pressures when it pressures the players. I do think that is a necessary part of any encounter, is that it feels like, hey, we are actually fighting here. We're not just mowing over this thing. Now, I do think there are times when mowing over everything is like a good respite from really hard battles. Like, absolutely. Oh, wow, we just stomped over those guys.
I also should put the caveat of if you're planning on doing 4 or 5 combats in a row, obviously not all of those combats are going to be really hard. So you have like 4 really like easier.
But no, so even when you bring those down,
the last one.
Even when you bring those down to an easier level, because they haven't rested or done that kind of stuff in between, it becomes a hard combat by just
right. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so like my party has been going on for like probably 6 sessions and barely got one sleep in between them, and they had a bunch of fights that were all really hard fights, but they weren't like world destroyingly hard, but because they were already in a not a bad way, but in a just hurt way, that they became these harder battles.
Yeah, no, totally. So when you find yourself in these situations where you've made a really difficult encounter and the group is losing, I want to cover 2 things. Do you like not fudge, but like change stats on the fly, like HP and stuff, to not kill players?
So what I like to do is I like to have as much of that info out in the open. So there's literally no way I could switch it or without it being I try to have a lot of that stuff out in the open. So I couldn't just like give them more like, oh, they rolled a higher strength. I give them higher strength modifier or whatever to make sure that they get out of these different things. I couldn't do that because I like to give the players as much knowledge about these characters because it's like as they're fighting them and they force them to make these saves, they're learning more info about this. Oh, they're really strong. Oh, they're not this. And they can kind of change their battle style if they really care to, because they have.
What
this
about
new
HP?
Info.
Do you ever?
Early on, I haven't done it in a while. I used to do it when I was new at making encounters, but as of right now, I kind of already kind of know the kind of what the players can take on type stuff.
Yeah, I am the complete opposite, where I don't show anything to anyone or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Every once in a while, if I'm like, he looks like he's pretty hurt, that's a little bit different, I guess. But
yeah,
I don't ever show anything. I never change them though, but I never ever have anything displayed of any type, or damage accumulation. I never display that either. So then, if you're in that situation and a player is gonna die, how do you normally handle it? Do you just kill him? Has there ever been awkward times where players get mad?
Yes, I've had a player get really mad about a death of another because they felt it was stupid because it was a random encounter that they just died to, and they're like, that
classic. I hate.
They hated the the idea that they only want the heroic story. So them dying or getting hurt by a random encounter, they're like, oh, that's not a fun way to die. Like, that doesn't have, even though they could easily have go to a city and revive them, or like this at this point they had already had the healing ability. He just didn't pick up a diamond, so he wasn't able to heal them.
I still get that though. I still do, because I don't want my character.
Oh no,
to die
I get it, but it's not something. Hey, it happened. Like you can say you're mad about it, but don't like
give up.
this person literally was like, fine, then my character just kills themselves on the spot, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, and those things can be super awkward.
Yeah,
those can be really awkward for everyone at the table for sure. But I get I don't want to die to a random encounter.
Yeah, I get that too. But if it happens, it happens, and you're sad about it, but you don't rage quit.
Right. No, totally. So then what do you do in situations of character death or just characters leaving in general? As you know, we had a experience with that not too long ago.
Mm-hmm. Well, I talk with them and be like, okay, yeah, you want to bring in a new character, you're kind of done with this one. And then I just go through character creation with them and just say, like, let's figure it out. Let's make them a part of the world, so it doesn't feel like everybody else has this whole backstory and everything, and you just feel like, oh, you feel like a level 1 character because you don't have all this backstory and stuff. So I like highly integrate them into the world.
Do you? The part I'm really curious is, do you ever refuse to let somebody make a new character if they're just gonna leave? Like if they just wanted to leave the group?
No.
Do you ever, or do you ever see it? Do you ever see a reason to refuse?
No. I don't think that is ever the correct choice. The player is not having fun playing whatever their character is for whatever reason. So I think it should totally be okay for them to be like, "Hey, I want to switch." Now, that does get irritating for a lot of people, but that is something that you might bring up them after they create a few characters. Be like, "Hey, like I'm not enjoying, like this is not fun or whatever," or even talking to, like, have the other players talk to them, be like, "Hey, we don't enjoy you making a million characters." Like, whether it's like, "Oh, we feel like you're making characters that are just super specialized to whatever our mission is," and then yeah, it helps, but it makes it feel like you're kind of the weird main character of whatever that story arc is because your just character is so based around whatever we're going through, and so like the many people can.
I think I agree.
Yeah. And so I'm okay with them creating more, but I at a certain point it's like, hey, like let's figure out what it is about, whether it's the game, the story we're going through, like whatever it is that makes you feel like I don't enjoy playing these characters for that long. Let's try to together figure out what type of character would you love to play for a long time? What's a weird little thing that you want to explore that you just haven't been able to? And then just try to figure out together how do we make that happen? Because we're all players. We're all here to have fun. It's a game. The DM is as much a player of the game trying to have fun as any of the players are.
No, totally. I think the only spot where I think I differ from you in this is that, well, maybe even not, but I think when people start making so many new characters, you kind of have to have them evaluate if they, and this might sound harsh, but if they even want to play in the campaign. Do you get what I'm saying? And it's only a certain circumstance.
I get what you're saying, but I don't think
what I'm saying.
I mean, sometimes it is that like they just don't enjoy the game, like they don't enjoy playing D&D, and so like they're creating a million characters because they're trying to find some fun in it. And if they're just not having it, then I would.
And that's fine too.
Yeah, that's totally fine not to enjoy D&D or any RPG.
Right.
And so like, hey, if you're not having fun, like maybe we could try another RPG together as a group, and we find one that just clicks with everybody, or maybe that player just needs to do something else with their Saturdays or whatever.
Yep. No. Totally. Yeah. I always find the topic of characters leaving or dying to always be really awkward, especially because both of them for different reasons. I think when a character dies, a lot of people get really attached to their characters, myself included. I get very attached to my characters. And when my character dies, I'm always like, oh man, like that really sucks, especially if I feel like I didn't warrant it, or like there was a miscommunication, or there was like I think the famous one for me was in Chris's campaign. I don't know if you've played, I don't remember if you were in this one. I think you probably were. But I was playing Seamus, the halfling, and there was that weird like fallen down wizard tower, and I climbed in through one of the windows, and for some reason I thought I was climbing in through the bottom story window, and like
and then all of a sudden he was like, "Oh yeah, you climbed through the top," and you're like, "Wait, what?"
All of a sudden I'm in the 7th floor, and I'm getting killed, and
because you were on the 7th floor,
I was by myself,
which you had no idea
and
about. Nobody could run and save you, which you thought you were on the 1st level, so we could all just run in quickly and save you if something happened.
Right.
But you were on the 7th, and we couldn't get that quick enough. Yeah, I remember that.
It's like, how the heck did I get up there? I don't remember doing that, but I was fine with it. I rolled with it, but like those are the type of ones where it's really awkward. Because it's like, oh, I thought I was somewhere completely different than where the DM thought.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, that sucks. My character's dead. Luckily, you guys just revived me. So luckily, you guys brought me to the town and revived me. But like, yeah, those type of ones are really awkward. and then the other ones that can be awkward, and I think more so for other players is the new characters all the time, because like other players are kind of like, I don't know what to expect, or I don't know, like don't know
Yeah, I mean, I
what
yeah.
they're coming up with next, or that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, as a DM, killing a player is never. It's usually pretty awkward, unless it was like predetermined, and you're like, we're gonna kill them. But
But yeah, but also, I mean, I think that also grows a party in a way. And I think there are benefits to a player death as well as negatives.
oh, absolutely, there can. Like I even thought our last session, it was a good one. It was a really good one, even though we had somewhat of that an issue.
Yeah, yeah, I think it worked out well, and it was interesting for continued growth in the campaign.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. All right, well, that's what I wanted to talk about for Lukewarm Open. So we're good to move on to the actual topic, which I don't even have a vague idea of what you're doing this week.
Okay, well, let's start by guessing what world do you think it's from?
You might have mentioned something before, and I don't remember if you did or not.
I didn't at all. That's why I'm like,
okay, give me a hint. Is it a video game world? Is it like a TV series world? Is it a movie, a book world?
I think it's been in a movie, but it's not originally from a movie.
What is it originally from?
An RPG.
Are we going to talk about Wasteland?
No. I don't think Wasteland was it. Wasteland's a game. Wasteland 3, fantastic. Which, man, I think we talked about Wasteland before. I think we did one on...
I don't remember.
I can't remember either. But no, we're talking about the Forgotten Realms.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, so...
Gosh dang it, Josh.
A real weird one this week. One we never talk about.
Well, I don't remember the last time we talked about Forgotten Worlds.
Yeah, it's not like it was last episode or anything.
Yeah, some would say I may have forgot.
Yeah, some would. And some would say you forgot Chunky Garfield as well.
I know. How could I forget Chunky Garfield?
So, I was unsure what we should talk about this week. And what we should make. Like, I still don't really know what we should make. So I was like, what type of topic could I do if I don't know what we should make from it? But I began to look around and look.
This week, we're making an order of Griffin Riders. That's what we're doing.
That would be interesting. And I think we might jump on that with relations to the topic, because there is a way to relate it to the topic.
Okay.
But as I was researching, I actually found an incredible thing for us to start season 4 with, but I don't think we're at season 4 yet. So I'm going to keep that in my back pocket.
Yeah, we got some time.
Yeah, I'm going to keep that in my back pocket for season 4. So this week we're going to talk about the Beast of Xvim. Now,
of what? Of Xvim?
It's Xvim. Xvim?
Yeah. Something like that, I guess.
Now, it's Iactu Xvim, actually, is the whole name. Now, this will require a little setup first. Now, these are Beast of Xvim, but who is Xvim? Xvim was the son of the god Bane. He was a half-demon, lesser deity of fear, hatred, and tyranny.
Born in the darkness, molded by it.
Xvim was destroyed in the end by his father, Bane. His father was killed, and to come back, he kind of took over his son, forcibly taking him over and his portfolio of hatred, tyranny, and fear.
Okay, I was too busy thinking about being born in the darkness that you said he killed him but took him over?
So Bane died because of, I forget the exact reasons of how he died. I'm sure it was some sort of good adventurers killed him and took him down. But whatever it was. What? Sometimes you just gotta yawn, dude. Sometimes you just gotta yawn.
Sometimes you just gotta yawn it out,
But when he died, his son kind of got raised up into godhood. and he took over the portfolio of fear, hatred, and tyranny. He was this god for a while, and then he was destroyed by his own father, who used him as a way to come back to life.
Talk about complicated.
Yeah. Talk about family issues.
So his
am I
father
right?
died. Well, yeah, absolutely. So it would be so his father died, and then the son took the position in the godhood, and then the father killed him and he came back to life.
So he
How did he
used
come back
his
to
son's
life?
body as some sort of catalyst to kind of get him back to life. And in the process,
so his
it
soul was
killed
still,
the
like,
son.
drifting around the aether or something.
I don't know exactly what's going on with the Xvim, but Xvim is dead, and Bane has taken over. But while Xvim was alive, he would create these beasts, and that is our topic for this week: the Beasts of Xvim. They're normally carnivorous animals and monsters that have been warped by the dark will of Xvim. These creatures charge and mutate into soul-devouring, fearsome, and violent creatures.
Jeez.
Xvim would place a small piece of his divine will inside of a creature, and it would mutate and change. The eyes of the creature would begin to glow with an emerald green light, while the creature itself gained new power and grew larger than before. This power wasn't very restrictive on who could become a Beast of Xvim, but considering Xvim's plans, he chose more powerful monstrosities most of the time, like beholders, chromatic dragons, nagas, etc. Sometimes even dogs and cats.
Oh, no.
He also
no.
tended to like the animals that already had fear associated with them, like bats, vultures, etc.
You telling me he turned puppies into demonic nightmares?
He loved the chaos of creating one of these beasts, like a dog or a cat,
No.
and turning them into one of these monsters while they're in a city. He loved the chaos of creating one of these monsters. So you're just sleeping. All of a sudden, your dog is like way bigger, glowing green eyes, and about to eat you. And when he eats you, he will also devour your soul.
No, I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate this
so
guy.
you're never safe.
No.
Anything could turn into a Beast of Xvim at any moment.
This guy sucks. Somebody needs to kill him.
There was in, I believe it is Waterdeep. Yes.
I think it's actually deep water.
Yeah. So the noble family of Chasm, this noble family from Waterdeep, their pet cat was transformed into a Beast of Xvim, killing the heir and leading the family to forswear cats forever.
No.
They never trusted cats again.
I hate it. I hate it. I hate it so much. What would I do if my puppy turned on me?
Yeah.
And was turned into a Beast of Xvim, started eating my leg when I woke up in the morning.
Now, Beast of Xvim became the peak of their species, and even could handle poison, pain, and fear better than them too. They had terrifying howls or growls that could frighten many people. They even had the power to smite with unholy energy. So your dog claws you and throws an unholy divine smite on there. Now, as I said previously, they were also devourers of souls. If they ate a corpse within a day of its death, they would consume the soul too, and it would literally be digested by the creature. This would make saving the individual nearly impossible, requiring the most powerful of magics. Even a wish spell had a 50% chance of succeeding.
Dang, that's pretty brutal.
Yeah. Now, when an animal is transformed into a Beast of Xvim, they kind of become less animalistic, losing their fear and gaining a lust for violence. This lust was not overwhelming, though, and they gained intelligence, with which that they would cunningly cause this violence. Xvim would even control some of these beasts to do his bidding, and sometimes even grant them to his faithful worshippers. Before he became a god, Xvim would create these beasts in the name of his father, Bane. But upon Bane's death and Xvim's ascension into godhood, he began to use them for his own will, and even granted the ability to create these beasts to his top followers. This made the amount of Beasts of Xvim skyrocket, as many people could and would start making these beasts. Xvim took lots of pleasure in the devastation that these creatures wrought. Now,
I hate this dude so much I can't express it.
now,
He's terrible.
Oh yeah, when Bane took over Xvim and was reborn from the body of his son, destroying him and absorbing his power, it is not clear what has happened to the Beast of Xvim in the world. Even a century later, they're still citing them in certain areas. These large, vicious black cats and such, with these eyes that glow the emerald kind of green color. So we know they're still out there. We don't know where, though. We don't know exactly what they're doing, where they are, or what, how it's all working. And I
mean, I hate him so much, but at the same time, the concept's super cool.
It is. And so what I was thinking when you said Pegasus riders, there are
Griffins?
people
Excuse
that have...
me?
What?
Griffin riders.
Oh, Griffin
or Someone
riders.
called them the McElroy the riders.
Gross.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounded way worse than I thought.
Sounds like you're trying to ride Griffin.
I mean...
I mean, yeah, you're right. But
oh, man.
my idea is that it starts as a mundane creature, and maybe like they can create these packs with these mundane creatures and turn them into some sort of rideable beast. And so they're the rider of these monstrosities, but the monstrosities started out as regular animals.
I mean, you know I'm all about a good old-fashioned change mundane beasts.
Maybe they also make like
terrible, awful monstrosities.
Maybe they also make
I'm all about that
chimeras.
action.
They befriend 3 beasts and they make a chimera of all 3. And that is whatever their mount is. They combine 3 creatures that they make their friend.
I was about to say, I don't know if you've seen Full Metal Alchemist, but you have, and I know the answer to that.
1,000,000%,
But
yes.
One of my favorite
You love
parts
Shao
of Full
Tucker.
Metal Alchemist, and yes, so much, and it's so messed up, but it's so awesome, and I love.
For anybody
that
who didn't
kinda
know, who
weird
hasn't watched
concept.
Full Metal Alchemist, what it does is it's the law. Their whole magic system is relied on the law of equivalent exchange. So whatever you put in has to be equivalent to what you want out of it. So this one dude, he is a state-funded alchemist, which means he gets money from the government to continue researching because their magic is like a science in their world. So
Yeah.
he got his
Super cool.
license
If you've never watched it, highly recommend watching it.
it's so good. He got his license by creating what's called a chimera, which is where he mixed a bunch of animals together and got it to talk. And he created this monster that is a mixture of a bunch of different other animals and could talk. And they were like, that's so cool. If you can keep doing this, like, here's your license. And so he got to the point where he's trying and he's going to have his license revoked because he hasn't made much progress in the field in a while. Eventually, the main characters come meet him, all that stuff, meet his daughter, kind of become a part of his family for a few days as they kind of are using his library to research more about what his literally main topic of research is. And so one day they come back and he's like, I have an amazing thing to show you. Like I have finally done it again.
I've done it
again. And he shows them this chimera which can talk, and it's incredible. And it calls the main characters of the show, "Oh, brother," and asks if they want to play, and they realize, "Oh crap, this is his daughter is one of the people that he threw into this mess of animals." And so it was the dog and the daughter.
Up.
And what they figure out is they're like, "When did you become a state alchemist?" And he's like, "Oh, I became at this time." And he's like, "When did your wife leave you?" Around the same time. So the previous one was his wife. And this one was his daughter. And he just wanted to be a state alchemist a little longer get all this money from the government, and he was willing to. Oh, it's horrifying. It's horrifying.
It's absolutely horrifying, but it's like such a good. I mean, I don't want to say good story, but it's such a
No,
good
it is a
story.
good
Like, it's a
storyline.
good arc,
It pulls at your heartstrings in a
really good
really
arc.
good way and gets you really invested in this family, and you like everybody, only to find out that the main father is just a d-bag.
Yeah, I mean, he's more desperate than anything.
Oh no, he's 100%
He's
desperate. He's
desperate to.
But yeah,
Yeah, he's desperate to try and save.
face.
What
It's really
he has
save
left.
face. It's not. He
It
could
is.
easily make money doing a million other things as an alchemist, but he just wants to be this state alchemist, amazing person. But
It's so
horrifying.
messed up. So I think we play on those. We play on that a little bit, and I would love to have some sort of group that creates weird animals, or I don't know. And your thought was, what was it again? We kind of got into a side tangent.
So mine was some sort of group that what they have you do before you become a full like writer is what they call them, writers, or maybe even striders. They befriend 3 animals, then they like were able to talk to them, like they cast speak with animal and literally become friends with these animals. And when they do, they become friends with 3 of them, or maybe they could choose. Maybe they do 2, maybe they do 3, maybe they do 4, maybe they do however many they want. They combine that animal into whatever whatever they combine becomes their mount. And so it's this order of people with crazy mounts, all created by themselves by their act, by doing this thing. And it's like the initiation
Okay.
into becoming a full-on writer.
So how do they do this? Is it like science? Is it like ritual magic? Is it
Magic, for sure.
some sort of god perversion? Is it?
I think it's like a blood magic. Like it's some sort of magic that is like forbidden, that requires some sort of thing like that.
Okay, now, hear me out. What if we went completely insane and we mixed science and magic? And what I mean by that is, what if they gather like 3 creatures or whatever, and they take parts of it, or like it's blood or something, and they like grow a separate creature in like some sort of magical arcane, I don't want to say vat because I don't want it to be like that scientific, but like some sort of arcane field. And so like you would walk into this cave and there's multiple like arcane bubbles, and inside are these weird growing creatures kind of like floating in a miasma that they've been creating. So they like for example, you'd take a chicken, a squirrel, and a dog, and you'd kill all 3 of them and throw them into this like arcane ritual circle, and over time it takes like the essence of the 3 and slowly merges them together, and they like grow a whole new creature. I mean, that's super messed up though.
I mean, is it
'Cause then you
hurting
have, like-
the other ones?
Well, what I pictured it as is like you kill them to like gain their DNA type
Okay.
thing, and you like use that in the ritual circle, and then over like a course of 5 months or whatever, 6 months, that grows a completely new creature based off of the animals you sacrificed or killed and put in there.
Interesting.
But that's super messed up. That's super messed up. So like if you were to like throw a horse and a lion and a eagle in there, you'd have some sort of weird, griffin essentially that could fly out.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, it's kind of what I was going for too, where it's like they kind of create all types of monstrosities.
Okay, if we had a group like this, how the heck would they start? Who is crazy enough to start a group like this and make these kind of weird monstrosities? And then what does society feel about them?
I'm thinking
Like, do
I'm
we do the
thinking it's a
classic, like
lich.
they start by
a lich is a lich.
lich?
So my 2 ideas for who started it is either it's a lich or it's a god, some sort of god of mutation or growth or progression, and like it's part of their cult, or it's like a monster hunting guild, and like it's a hidden secret that's how they just act like, oh, these were monsters we found and caught.
Yeah, and they're actually
Yeah.
combining them together.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Man, like they go out and they're hunting like owl bears or whatever. And maybe that's even how like an owl bear came to exist. But like
Yeah, they just
They go out
mated
and-
too much and they couldn't control them.
yeah. Yep. No, I think I like this like monster hunter idea where like this whole group is formed to hunt monsters, but they obviously have some sort of, I mean, I guess it would probably be perverted sense of creation, and they start creating these own monsters when they kill them.
Yeah.
Who the heck would start something like this? Does it just start as a normal monster hunting like academy? Does it
Huh.
like? There's a part of me that loves the idea of it starting as like a normal monster hunting like
But
academy.
how do you go so far off
then-
the rails is my question. That's what I'm trying to figure out, like, without some sort of, like I'm thinking of, like, some powerful transmutation wizard that showed them, hey, like, you could be incredibly successful by doing this. Like, ooh, combining these two creatures allow you to have something that's really quick and strong that can help you in battle, but also track and attack really well. So they can find the monster, help you find the monster, and also help you take down the monster.
Yeah. My thought along those lines was like the guild was failing
Mm-hmm.
and they somehow figured out and they're almost like Tucker, like a desperation, and they figured out that they could become famous by doing stuff like this,
Yeah.
or they could save the future of the guild or their reputation or anything like that. And that's how they ended up creating these monsters. But then at the same time, it's a little bit, I don't know, somewhat lame.
A little
But
bit.
then it's also not like just
So
pure evil.
what
though.
I'm thinking is, instead of having it be like, maybe it becomes a guild like that, but I think how it starts is an adventuring group. Like, it's like this super well-known, world-renowned adventuring group that saved the world, and their children try to continue it on, and they're just not as good. And so it quickly kind of makes, like, it's almost like they feel like they're shaming their family because they're just not able to do it. And so they become desperate enough to do this type of thing. And maybe it even gets
I
like more
like-
complicated with like the person they go that actually like convinces them to do this was actually a evil wizard that had joined that had been kicked out of their parents' group, but he wants to kind of like not curse, but at least like taint the legacy of these people. So he suggests this to the group, like, hey, this will help you like not look bad.
Okay, I have an idea
Mm-hmm.
along these lines. What if we split this up into two things first? So what if the society they're a part of has been doing like arcane experiments and seek like, arcane experiments and transmutation as part of like a wizarding school or like a wizarding, I think just as plain like experiments, and this group of adventurers who are like following in the footsteps of like a famous group, they can't live up to the expectation, but somehow they figure out that this academy or even government is doing these weird experiments and transforming beasts.
I think what the
And-
academy is doing, the academy is actually transforming people. So the academy is granting people greater strength, greater abilities by literally like transforming them. But these people are too cowards to do it to themselves, so they figure out the technique, but they only are comfortable doing it to these animals.
So, what I was thinking, because I love that idea, but it's also incredibly evil, and like it's very incredibly evil.
Sorry, what about it was evil?
You know, changing people, like transforming people.
Well,
That's pretty evil.
I was thinking of it as the people want to be like, they are like, hey, you want to get stronger? I can make you stronger. And then the person's like, yeah, cool. And then it's just like a procedure, but it's like a hidden procedure that only people
Okay.
of this academy know.
So yeah, I was thinking more along the lines of like they're combining a cow with a yak to produce more nutritious milk type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where they're like, or a chicken to produce more eggs. They like combine it with a some bird, like where they're trying to
It makes a
combine
person
these
with
these creatures.
some other animal to make them more fertile or to make them stronger.
Well, I definitely think that could be a way that it ends up going.
Mm-hmm.
But what my thought was is this group, in desperation, they break in and they steal arcane secrets or whatever, and they start using it to produce their own, like their
Monstrosities.
own monstrosities. But what I might even like a little bit more is they were sent to like destroy it because it was evil, but they destroyed it but kept the secrets for themselves
Yeah.
to use
Mm-hmm.
because they were desperate. So like there was some sort of cult or whatever, I don't know, like some sort of terrible group that was trying to create these weird monstrosities or whatever, and they were experimenting with all sorts of different stuff, some that could be beneficial, some that could be not so much, and they were tasked to go and destroy it and arrest them essentially, and they did that, but they kept the arcane secrets for themselves and
Yeah.
started producing the monsters themselves,
Yeah. I like that.
which is messed up. But I also see it as very reasonable for somebody to do.
Yeah. They're in a desperate situation. They find a sort of solution or at least something that'll help them. They'll do it.
Well, yeah, you're desperate, and then you find this literal miracle that can, you can literally create monstrosities, entities, and create an entire, very profitable too, a very profitable enterprise. So a lot of people would do that, especially in extreme desperation.
Yeah.
So they steal these, they play it off as if they have like completely and utterly wiped it out,
Mm-hmm.
and then they start creating their own monstrosities.
How long do you think
Now,
it is before they do
the
that?
question-
Is it generations?
Before
Do
they
they
start
wait a
creating their
long
own?
time? Like, so, well, because they don't want the other the people who do know about this secret to realize, hey, you just started using it yourself. So, do they wait a while? Do they do it immediately and kind
Well-
of have to deal with the consequences of people being like, hey, wait a minute?
Well, I'm stuck between two options and ideas. One is more evil than the other. The one that I'm leaning towards is they start in secret, where like they make monstrosities just for themselves to like like as
Praying against.
travel like horses, like yeah. And over the years, it takes them a very long time to develop and figure it out. But over the years, the group starts passing away from age and from and the elf of the group or whatever, the one who lives a very long time, slowly gets more and more desperate as they can't figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually he ends up solving the secret, and he ends up creating this whole entire horde of monstrosities as his his impact on the world is going to be this. This is what people are going to remember him for. Even though their group failed and in some cases are a laughingstock to the previous generation of heroes, because he was mocked and their group was mocked, he essentially becomes an anti-hero and creates this legion of monstrosities, which would be a very fun, interesting way to go about it.
Yeah.
And then my other thought was, they break in, take the secrets and stuff, and they start producing them right away. Like they have the full entire everything, and they know how to do it immediately. and they people start trying to crack down on them, and that kind of makes them double down on their efforts and like, well, if you're going to come fight us, then we're just going to create more of these, and we're going to fight you with these, and so it becomes this like war essentially between humanity and monstrosities, where this group is creating monstrosities, and they kind of lose their
I kind of
lose
wanted
their place in society.
Okay, I think what happens is kind of like an Ultron situation. So it starts out they figure out they do all the stuff to get this recipe book pretty much of how to do it all, and they begin to try to make them. One problem is they aren't listening to them. So they are like rabid monsters, and maybe the world just fills up with these monsters, or some of these monstrosities seem to have sentience to them, and they kind of rise up, and they become the problem. Not this guild. This guild just got in over its head.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I like they have lost control of it,
Yeah.
so to speak, and it's now a major problem.
And maybe they're even like because like a lot of these monstrosities are not going to have opposable thumbs and like hands and things. Maybe they're even like forcing the guild now to keep making them. Like the guild is completely under.
I know this might sound funny, but there's a part of me that like, what if there was like a horrific accident where one of the members of the group like becomes one of these monstrosities, and he kind of also he starts producing them willingly with the monstrosities that have taken over, like they like somehow.
Hold on. Okay,
He
I like
becomes-
I like this. But what if the monstrosities did it on purpose?
Well, I would like that too. Yeah.
So that was their first like
I just
triggering
don't-
like we're going against you moment is they purposely like shove him in when he's about to finish the ritual or whatever.
So okay, here's another question then. Do you see them producing like not just beast like monstrosities, but like humanoid monstrosities with like intelligence too?
I think they can, and I think they do eventually. But to start out, like the party will just see like the party will have issues with these weird monstrosities are attacking this town. Like it'll just be, and then eventually they'll find one that is sentient enough to talk to them. Then they'll find a humanoid one, and so on and so on.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that because for some reason I was picturing like a Lord of the Rings like Uruk-hai like in the movies like taking over his own spawning pits type deal.
Yeah.
No, I like that a lot. So then how does society deal with this? What happens to this? Does this become like a major issue? Is it only like a small thing, and like is it like a Death Valley type deal where people just don't go there anymore now, or what?
I would kind of leave that up to the party. So I would have like the first like early on they'll see a notice board and it has a bunch of different quests on it, and this is one of them. If they don't go and solve it, it gets worse. If they don't go and solve it, it gets worse. And so on until they have to stop it. Until it gets to the point where they become a major enemy. And so I would just play out literally their plan in the background as the players just weren't attacking. Like if they didn't attack, if the players didn't stop it, does someone else stop it? If somebody else doesn't stop it, what is their goal and what did they achieve because they were not stopped?
Right, I was just about to ask that. What do you think the goal would be if they're not stopped?
I mean, I think world domination
Create their own sanctuary, to create their own society?
I think these things have a bend towards evil in them just naturally. Like maybe they're even like partially demonic or
like their
devilish.
soul is like corrupted as well when
Like
in
they
this
took
process?
they took like it's the process is like a devil or a demonic process that will alter the
Right.
soul and alignment to be evil something. So if they were lawful, it'll be lawful evil. If they were chaotic, it'll be chaotic evil, so on and so forth.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. How big do you see this getting? Like, how big do you see it like being like a
I think at first it's about 50.
thousands? Do you see this being? Yeah, it starts small for sure.
Yeah, and if the party doesn't stop it, hundreds. If the party doesn't stop it, 200s, so on and so on and so on.
Do you think it could be a real huge problem for the entire world if they don't solve it? Do you think you'd go that far with it or no?
Uh-huh. Because I don't see I don't see them having any other reason for this than world domination. Than wanting to, like, maybe even some of them have anger from when they were just animals and they want to step on everyone as they felt they have been stepped on.
Here's another idea that might be interesting to play along in this. What if we did like they were messing with like animals' souls as well, and they eventually like they grabbed like a soul from like a demonic plane or something, like the abyss or something, and it like took over one of
What I'm thinking of is more
of these
like
creatures.
I think demons interrupt this purposely. I don't think it's an accident that it happens. I don't think it was meant to happen. The cult didn't want it to happen, but the demons did. So what I'm thinking is the demons snuck a demonic sheep in one of their litters. I don't know, you'd call them.
Okay, that could be interesting. Or like, yeah, they purposely trapped it, or they set
Or they
themselves
polymorphed
up to.
somebody into a sheep. Like some sort of demon took on the form of a sheep to kind of infect this process.
Yeah, they somehow poisoned the well, essentially, to get involved into it. And I think that's a really good reason for world domination.
Yeah.
Like, it's now controlled by some sort of demonic entity.
Yes, that is totally a great reason for world domination, or at least why they would go for world domination.
It would honestly be terrifying. I'm not going to lie. It would,
Kind of. There'd be a bunch of different abominations of all different types, from manticores to chimeras to any creepy monster.
Anything.
Yeah, you just you look for aberrations or monstrosities in the books, and you just say, hey, I like the arm of a hooked horror on the body of a beholder, and then you have this horrible, useless ball that has all these little hooks on it.
Yep. That would be fun for creativity, too. As a DM, you could do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, and you could literally just say, hey, this one has a spike attack. I'm going to take that. I'm going to take this attack and just throw them onto one monster.
That's somewhat what I'm doing with our campaign currently. Not the story that we made, but that kind of idea where, like, you know, some people have these, like, snake arms and stuff and scorpion tails and, you know, kind of...
Yeah, we haven't met
those guys.
We haven't met
like,
a lot of them yet, so it's hard to know. But yeah,
no. No, but that's kind of what I've been doing with those guys, where it's just like I'll take like a snake bite and be like, well, I like that ability, so it's on his arm.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that scorpion jab, so that's on. You know, they've sewn that onto his back. You know, and that is very fun. That is a really fun thing to do as a DM.
That is. Now this group, it starts out not with bad intentions, but becomes horrible because these things run wild. So, what do you see these people doing in response to everything's going wrong?
I don't know. There's a part of me that like it goes wrong really slowly, and they don't really do anything about it for a long time until it's way too late.
Until there's a bunch of these monstrosities.
Right, until it's like just too late for them to do anything about. And then at that point, I'd probably see them like running and hiding. I mean, it would depend. I'd have to make all the individuals that were a part of it, like the starting people. I mean, maybe some of them joined. You know, maybe some of them just voluntarily were like, no, well, we can't do anything else, otherwise we're going to die, so we might as well just save our lives and our skin by creating more of these.
Yeah.
Or I see them fleeing, or even I see some of them, I could see somebody like turning it in to like the authorities.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I was on board with this at the start, but this is not how we planned, and it's out of control.
Yeah.
So I think probably all of the above would be happening, depending on,
Now,
you know, what was going on. So
yeah. Now, with this group and with these multiple reactions, do you think they are kind of delayed? All of them are delayed because like there's like some sort of like, as I was saying, how it started as like an adventuring group, and like there was like some sort of like history there that these people respect and honor, and they know that their screw up will ruin that. So do you think they keep it under wraps longer than they should have because of this like sense of honor, or like sense of I don't want to
Yeah,
destroy the history of this group?
I mean, I guess if I had to relate it to anything, it would be like your best friend is doing something wrong, but you're like, I mean, he's my best friend though, you know, like maybe they'll get over it, you know, like maybe it won't really be that big of a deal,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of thing. Like, you know, they've adventured with each other for a long time and, you know, saved each other, fought with each other, you know, like fought side by side. They're like brothers. And so it's kind of like, you know, you see your best friend, you know, like when you're in high school or something, doing something that they shouldn't be doing. You're kind of like, well, I mean, you know, maybe,
Maybe they have a
you
reason
know, maybe it's
for
only
it.
this time. Yeah, maybe you're right. Exactly. So I think that would absolutely delay it.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
And, you know, maybe, you know, talking about multiple different reactions, you have like one of them like escape from this place and like, you know, comes like running into the city that the party's at, and these aberrations are chasing him, you know, because he's like, if he gets to the city and warns people, then there could be a problem. So, you know, you could do something like that too.
That'd be fun, yeah, and then kind of introduce it to the party through this dude who's literally running, being chased by these monsters.
Yep.
Well, I think I'm gonna cut it there.
Think that's it.
This is episode 59 of Dungeoneered.
59.
If you want to write to us, giving us suggestions of lukewarm opens or topics, I don't know why I'm in this accent right now. If you want to,
Let us be monotone.
I guess. But yeah, if you want to write to us about any sort of topic, suggestions, lukewarm open, or maybe even like, oh, you inspired me to make this and whatnot, we would love to hear all of it. Write us at dungeoneered@hotmail.com. If you listen to us on any podcasting apps that have ratings and reviews, please write a review. It really helps the show, kind of showing that you're engaging with it in more ways than just one. Anything to add, Aaron?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, as I always say, always remember to be the sharpest barrel in the bunch. See you next time.
Bye.